Every Christmas there is a battle between different brands over who can create the most heartwarming Christmas advert. John Lewis being one of the main contenders used a mixture of stop motion and 2D animation in a live action scene in 2013. It tells the story of a hare giving a bear a clock as a Christmas present to make sure the bear doesn't hibernate through the event. In 2014, John Lewis brought out an advert which looked at a boy who had a penguin for a best friend, yet the penguin wanted some female company. This advert used CGI to create the penguin. The test viewers were asked to watch the Bear and the Hare advert, where they were asked for their thoughts and opinions afterwards. They were shown a video of the process that was used to create this advert. They were then asked how they felt about the advert after watching it. The test viewers were then asked to watch the penguin advert, which they had different opinions on. It seems that even if people are interested in animation, they can become confused over what animation form is used. Some people wouldn't have known that the Bear and the Hare used multiple animation styles if they hadn't watched the process of how it was made. With some animation styles such as CGI, it can be tricky to work out what is real and what is not. The penguin advert was clearly CGI, seeing as an animal was placed into a human world and would act differently to how they normally would act in the wild. This study showed that even though you can grow an emotional attachment to something you may see, and which has a complex method of being produced, you could never fully appreciate it without being shown how it was created. The author of Demystifying Disney, Chris Pallant, explains how Disney has entered different eras of animation, such as the Renaissance period and the Neo-Disney period. The Renaissance period happened between 1989 and 1999, where popular titles such as The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast were created. This was also the time period where animators trialled out using 3D animation in their films. Here, Chris Pallant voices his thoughts on where he believes the next stage for Disney animation is heading.
Yeah, Emperor's New Groove, without a shadow of a doubt, is my favourite one. I think probably because it's the most Looney Tunes-esque of the Disney films. It's a bit more anarchic. In terms of gender politics, it seems to be a bit more progressive. You've got a representation of a pregnant woman in there. She's a strong character. And I like the way that it was one of the first to really start lampooning the male characters, which you see very commonly now in films like Tangled. But yeah, Emperor's New Groove, good film. Yeah, I mean, one of the predictions I put in the conclusion has been proven wrong already. I was writing that in 2009, that they were probably going to alternate between hand-drawn and CG, and I think they experimented with that for a couple of years, but it looks to me now like the trajectory is CG, especially with the success of Frozen. They're not going to back against that. In terms of Disney's trajectory now, I'm really positive about it. I think that they've taken the mantle from Pixar and DreamWorks as they've retaken the mantle as the dominant mainstream feature animation producer, because Pixar's had a bit of a ropey spell with the last couple of films, not great in terms of storytelling. I know everyone's raving about Inside Out, but I wasn't that convinced by it. And DreamWorks are okay, but they're a little bit of a one-trick pony. It's usually quite zany stuff. Whereas with Disney, with Wreck-It Ralph and Big Hero 6, they feel like there's some really original storytelling going on there, and it feels like there's some impetus. So I don't see a return to hand-drawn anytime soon, feature length, but I'm optimistic about their ambitions when it comes to CG.
Since 2008, Disney's string of popular films such as Frozen and Tangled have been beating box office records, and Disney has no intention of returning to the classic 2D hand-drawn films anytime soon. However, this is not the end of 2D animation. Disney's recent shorts have been created using a 2D sequence with stylized CG and final line paint. This can be seen in the shorts Paperman and Feast.
I think stop motion has surprised everybody, especially within the industry. I think there was a serious doubt in the early 2000s. They thought that would be the end of stop motion, but it clearly isn't. And I think the audience are smart enough, they know enough about the process, they enjoy seeing the human quality of it. So I think stop motion's here to stay. There'll be Aardman films for many, many years to come. Leica doing lots of great things. In terms of the hand drawn, that's where I think it could become a little bit more niche. You might find that mainstream studios pull back a bit from that. It seems to be pretty strong in France. There seems to be an appetite for it there. So you've got people like Sylvain Chaumet. He works in that medium. He likes that medium. And obviously in Japan as well, places like Studio Ghibli. Whilst there's been a bit of a transition with the retirement of Hayao Miyazaki, it feels like there is a strong critical mass of hand-drawn production. But coming out of America, the dominant mainstream form, it's CG all the way. In terms of looking at animation now and thinking about the way it fits into the world of moving images, it's everywhere, and it's completely pervasive and has proliferated. So I'm excited at a time where the distinction between live action and animated might start to break down, and people might recognise that actually everything we look at is animated in some way, and live action then will just become a subset of the animated form, which is a reverse of what's been the case for the past 100 years. So I'm kind of excited for that, but then I am a bit of a militant animation theorist. I'm always banging the drum, so that's probably the reason for that.
Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas's original budget was $18 million. Since 1993, its blockbuster total reached $75 million. The popularity of this film led on to other Tim Burton films, such as The Corpse Bride and Coraline. The popularity of The Nightmare Before Christmas still lives to this day, with key appearances around the Halloween and Christmas periods on TV and in the Disney theme parks worldwide. DreamWorks also had its fair share in the stop-motion world, releasing Chicken Run in 2000. Chicken Run went on to gross $225 million at the box office.
Anomalisa, the latest stop-motion film which is yet to be released in UK cinemas, is set to be the comeback of stop-motion animation. Director Duke Johnson stated that the aim of the film is that they forget that they are looking at something animated and just get wrapped up in a scene.
During the interview, Chris Pallant said it was believed that stop motion was put to rest in the early 2000s, yet this was not the case. Stop motion has always been present, but overshadowed by other animation styles such as 2D and 3D animation.
Because 3D